How is it going, boys and girls? Welcome back to Key West Waterman. My name is Aaron Young. After that last camping trip, I got real fired up about camping and been wanting to do more, so figured I'd shoot back out for a couple days and live off the land. I'm gonna get set up. We'll head out and see if we can find something to eat for this evening. Got some really nice weather coming in. The last few days it's been blowing 30 and raining and overcast, and it's funny, about 20 minutes ago the sun came out. It's the first time I've seen it in a few days, but that is the plan. I don't know how long I'm going to stay. I brought enough stuff for maybe 2 or 3 days, just kind of follow my heart and see what the weather does, and hopefully enjoy the peace and quiet. Madeline, my wife, has been very busy, so I'm going to take a few days off and unplug. I've got some firewood, obviously tent and mat and all that stuff, some cold stuff, some extra gas for the boat depending on how far I end up running. Brought the shrimp net just in case, but I'm going to get the tent set up and get all the stuff put up where I want it, and then we'll head out and see if we can find something to eat for dinner. One thing I did want to mention, just to consider if you are camping near the water anywhere that there are tides. You want to look at the most recent tide lines. And what a tide line is, well, at least I don't know if that's a technical term, that's what I call them. You can see how there's like natural lines where the seaweed has been deposited. There's one here, there's one down there. You want to make sure you're well above the most recent tide line. So this is a tide line. You can see the line there. There's another one really high, but that's all dry and really old. This down here looks like the most recent tide line. All this stuff's wet. It looks like it came in just on the last high tide, and we're on low tide right now, so it'll come back up to somewhere around here. So you just want to be safe. Make sure you're not anywhere where you're gonna wake up in the middle of the night flooded. So I'm gonna put my tent up here. It'll be nice and cushy anyways, and I wanted to stay near the fire. I thought about going inland a little bit, but I'd like to have a fire, and just in case I want to be near the water. Not a big one, but just a little one for the ambiance. But let's get set up. So a lot of times I'll just sleep on the ground, but some of these islands actually have raccoons on them. And it is not fun getting woken up by a raccoon. This whole little area right here is, for the most part, it's all rock. It'll have like a little thin layer of mud on it, and somehow I managed to fill my entire waterproof boot up. The only dry footwear I brought, unfortunately, within the first 3 minutes of being here. Luckily I've got some little things right here I can hang these up on, hopefully get them to dry out a bit. Man, I hate wet socks. Got camp set up about the way that I want it. Hate to do that kind of stuff in the dark, but we're good to go. Let's see if we can run out here and find something to eat, hopefully. And we're off. So I don't have a ton of spots up this way. I don't spend a lot of time up here, but I do like to explore, so I don't know. I may check some stuff out, see what the water looks like, but I may run down a few miles to some familiar territory. It's already 1:30, so I don't want to spend too much time exploring. I need something to eat. I am in about 6 feet of water. Just gonna pop around, hit some little ledges, see if maybe there's some lobster around. This time of year, typically they're gonna walk out to the reef. It gets warmer. The deeper water stays a little warmer, closer to the Atlantic side, but being inshore like this, might be hard to find one, but you never know. We'll give it a look, bring a gun just in case there's any snapper or anything. We'll see what's down there. Welcome back underwater, everybody. Thanks so much for coming along. Appreciate you tuning in and watching the videos. We'll talk about a couple of scenarios, not a ton to talk about, but some thoughts and ideas. I ended up hitting some numbers that I had in the past instead of searching where I was at, I ran down a little bit. I didn't want to waste a ton of time. I didn't have a whole lot of daylight left. Wanted to make sure I had something to eat, so I did hit some numbers that I had saved and I've hit before. This particular spot, depending on the time of the year, sometimes it'll be absolutely stuffed with lobster. Not as much in the wintertime because the water does cool down. The lobster don't like the cooler water. They typically will walk out to the reef where it gets a little warmer, but I figured it was worth a check. And I wanted to have a gun with me because sometimes you'll swim up to these little ledges and you'll see a big mangrove or a big yellowjack or something hanging out around the ledge. So I go in first with the gun just to see if anything was hanging out worth shooting, and then I'll start looking for lobster. So no lobster, but I did notice a little lionfish in there, and I try to take care of these when I see them. They are invasive to this area. To be honest, I don't notice a difference as far as health goes when I come to a spot that's covered in lionfish, but it's what the scientists tell me. And they're actually delicious if they're big enough. This one wasn't big enough to eat. I unloaded one band because I don't want to drive a full-powered gun into the rock, but yeah, I try to kill them when I see them. When they get bigger, they're amazing table fare. This one was small, so I just decided I would take care of it, and I'll cut the spines off. That way, if anything else tries to eat it, it doesn't get the spines and the sting from them. First spot, no lobster. So this is actually a new area. I moved down a little bit. And this one isn't so much one particular ledge as it is an area. It'll have little potholes and ledges and cracks. And the more I swam around, the more lobster I started to see, but they were small. I've been doing it long enough, I can pretty much eyeball them within a pretty narrow window. And I was starting to see a lot of them come up, and that is a good sign. Even though they're not big enough, I like lobster in the area because typically lobster, that's a molted lobster, the shell, not a dead one. But typically, if I see them in an area and I keep searching that area, eventually you're going to run across the bigger one. This one was pretty stealthy. I couldn't get a good look at it. So I wanted to walk it out a little bit. It ended up being small, but yeah, if I see them in an area, I want to keep working that area because typically lobster are going to hang out together. And with a little bit of luck, eventually I'll run across the legal one. And that's what happened. So this ledge was a little bit bigger. And I take a peek in and I see there's quite a few lobster in it. And I know on the camera it can be deceiving. They do look a lot bigger on camera. But peeking in here, I saw 4 shore, 1 keeper, and I saw a couple that were probably borderline. And this one right here, right there with the lights on, that one was a really nice one. I knew that one was for sure legal. So I went back to the boat, got the lobster snare, and I start working on the big one. And the idea is you want to get behind them, get under their tail, just agitate them and try and get them to walk out. And normally it's pretty easy for me. And this one, I don't know if he started to, but then it just got a little wise and he started fighting me. Sometimes if the lobster has been messed with before, someone else has tried to catch it, a lot of times they'll have a little bit of a temper to them and they won't walk as easy. So this one I realized it was fighting me. I don't want to push it too hard because if I do push it too hard, it's going to get angry, shoot back in the hole, and it'll throw a bunch of dust up, and then I'll have a tough time finding it, and I'll have to wait for that water to clear out. So I went on the other side of the ledge and started to mess with one of the other ones that looked borderline. I wasn't sure if this one was legal or not, but same thing, it just really wasn't having it. So these two ledges connect all the way through on those 3 points. It's a little tight the further back you go, but I know that they are connected. And the more I messed with that big one, he started to come back towards this little hole. So I decided I'd come over here and try a different angle at him. And I can see its tail, and I'm just trying to get the snare in there, get it around the tail. You want it between the tail and the head. And I got it around and cinch her down and got me a nice big old lobster. I did not need to measure this. I knew sure and well just having this in my hand, this lobster was legal. Just wanted to show you how big it actually was. This is a really nice one for this time of year in the shallows. It was well over the limit. Yeah, baby. That's a big one. So I went back to that same ledge and was seeing if I could see any of the other borderline ones, and from catching that one lobster and messing with the previous one, you can see it got pretty stirred up in there and they were being a little skittish. I just wanted to give it some time. Like I said, when you mess with them, they'll throw up a bunch of sand and cloud it up, and it makes it really hard to hunt them individually. So I figured I'd give it a few minutes, let it clear out, and go check some other areas around the boat. So I continued searching, ran into a lot more small ones, and then eventually got lucky and found another nice one. I could tell by the size of the antenna sticking out of this hole that this was a decent lobster. Same technique, use my snare, get behind it, agitate it, get it to walk out, and get it around the tail. Some people use tickle stick and net. I prefer a snare, just one thing instead of two things in my hand. But this was another really nice one. And I decided I didn't need more than two, so I didn't bother going back to that first ledge. This one was plenty big enough. Oh, yeah. Nice. It is cold. We don't get a lot of water in the low 60s. It's in the like mid to low 60s right now. And it is chilly. But got some really nice lobster. Wasn't expecting to see any this big. First spot was empty. Didn't see anything. And then second spot was more like an area. And I was searching around and started to see a lot of small ones. I know that lobster like to hang in the same area. They're gregarious. So they like to be together. And got lucky and found 2 big ones. So I'm going to try a couple more spots and see if I can locate a fish. I'd like to get in before the sun goes down because it's going to get really cold with this wind, especially being wet. So I always say this and no one ever believes me. The camera does a really good job at making it look cleaner than it actually was. I moved out a little deeper and the water got quite a bit fuzzier. And it was just fuzzy enough that by the time I realized what the fish was and if it was legal, it was on its way out. So it was really hard. This rock I pulled up to had a ton of life on it. There were a ton of small mangroves and grunts and chubs mixed in. But there was so much life, it was hard for me to focus on one thing. If it had been a little cleaner, it definitely would have been a little easier. But this is some difficult hunting, especially when there's a lot of false targets, so to speak. This is pretty funny. I came around this coral head, seeing if there was anything inside, and this big old Goliath grouper was not at all concerned with me. These are protected. If you're not familiar with our area, you cannot harvest them. Just wasn't very concerned. It decided the second time was too much. So I searched for about another 45 minutes. I had my light out because I had intended on going in this hole. I saw a snapper swim in there that I thought was big enough. So if you're wondering why I have my light out, I dropped down on the rock and this okay snapper was sitting on top of it, but figured I'd use my light since I had it in my hand. Not something I'd typically do out in the open, but waited till that snapper got past that coral head and broadside and put a shot in it. That stuck. At this point, I just wanted to have a fish or two. I was having such a tough time with the visibility, and I really wasn't seeing a ton of big fish. So I didn't hesitate on this one. Probably a 13-inch or so snapper. You know I love my mangroves. It's not a monster, but it'll eat. It's just murky enough that it's a pain in the butt. And there's so many grunts. I don't know if the grunts are spawning, but there's so many grunts. When you drop down, you have to sift through the grunts trying to find a snapper or something else. It's just murky enough and just not enough fish to make it really difficult. But I got one. We got about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours till sunset. It's cooling off. It's hard to talk, my lips are getting a little cold. I'm gonna head back into camp and get sorted, get out of this wet stuff and trying to warm up. Tide came up quite a bit. I gotta get out of this wetsuit and get dry. Yeah, so if you notice from earlier, water was out, I don't know, 5 or 6 feet. Not down 5 or 6 feet, but out 5 or 6 feet. See, it's coming back up at that previous tide line. Shouldn't come much more past that. We should be good. Home sweet home. I'm not a survivalist. I'm not going to pretend like I am. All right. Let's get some food going. There ain't no way I'm going to eat both of those lobster, so we're just going to do one. This is a lot easier with a serrated knife or if you have a big sharp kitchen knife. See if this guy will get through. We're gonna do this lobster nice and easy. So there's a lot going on inside these. That'll probably freak you out. There we go. Split it at the body. But a lot of this stuff I don't eat. I'm sure you could technically. So I'm gonna run down to the water, just clean it out a bit. That tide is dropping quick. You have to move the boat out a little bit. So we're not gonna do much to this. Believe it or not, there's actually a lot of meat in the head. It's a different texture if you've never had it, but there's quite a bit of meat still left in the head and the legs and the knuckles. Just gonna do a little bit of olive oil. Just wanna coat that all around. And some salt and pepper. We also have, courtesy of one of Madeleine's friends, I think it was like olive parmesan something rather, focaccia bread. Love bread, so I had to bring a little bit. There we are. That's the smaller of the two. That is a ton of lobster meat. Gonna go right on the fire. Ooh, that would have been bad. You gotta be careful with this. You don't want to lose it into the sand. You don't want too much open flame on that shell. You want the coals underneath. Considering these things are all over the place, use it as a pot lid. Look at that steam effect. Toast my bread. Oh yeah, baby. So there is a bunch of meat right there in the head. A lot of people don't use the heads, but there's plenty of good stuff in there. Oh, got some of the yellow stuff. And even in those knuckles. That'd be nice hunks of meat. It's just one piece right there. One section of the knuckle. Mmm. Call me crazy. I'll put chimichurri on anything. Mmm. It's about as fresh as it gets. Some of that head meat. The head meat does have a little different texture if you've never had it. Some of the sections are, I don't want to say mushy, but they're more soft. Thank you, BB, for the bread. And we are not done this evening. I'd like to head out once it gets dark with the shrimp lights and see if we can find any shrimp. I'm going to try it a different way that I've never done. Typically down here, we walk around and dip them. But I'm going to set up near some of the creeks or the bridges where the water flows and set the lights out and see if we can dip them like I used to back in Titusville. Look how quickly the tide goes out when it goes out. This is where we were earlier, all the way up here. It is all the way out here in a matter of about 2 hours. Actually, not even that long. It's only 6 o'clock. I got in about 4:30. That is crazy. Shoot, I hope I can get the boat out of here. She's still floating. That's why you get a Ginu. I'm in like 10 inches of water maybe. Trying to pole out of here so I don't hit bottom. Go nice and slow. Seemed like we got out okay. I may have made a mistake. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get back in here later. I may have to walk in. Too late now. So I have never attempted to shrimp this way down in Key West, but where I grew up in Titusville, Florida, this is how we used to catch shrimp. You'd anchor up, find pinch points where there's water flowing, and put lights out and see if shrimp would come by. But I don't know anyone that does it that way down here, but I'm gonna give it a try. Check a couple spots. We got the tide going out, so hopefully with a good flow we will see a shrimp or two. Well, I got myself into a predicament. My gut told me that I probably shouldn't go shrimping because of the tides, but I was being stubborn and I went anyways. And the tide went out. I thought we were further away from the new moon, but it's only about 2 or 3 days away. And you can see how low it is. So I'm quite a ways out. I'm gonna have to park the boat out here. Hopefully this is not mud and I can walk through it. That would be nice. But I've got to trek through all that. And it's freezing. Ooh, this is gonna suck. Okay. So the fun part is some of the mud is going to be firm and some of it's going to be soft. So I'm going to really have to watch my steps so I don't go all the way down. That would be devastating. Remind me to check the tides next time. This will blow your mind. All that hard bottom right there, all that rock. That's where I drove the boat in earlier. Amazing the power of the moon. Pull that much water out. Oh, I see little glowing eyes in the bushes. Assuming that's a raccoon or a possum. It looks like a possum. It's chilly. Good morning. The tide is still way out there. I'm in no rush, so that's not a problem. Could barely see the boat out there, but it is still out there. That's a good thing. Gonna need that. Another overcast day. I'm in no hurry. I'm gonna wake up slow, might read a little bit. We'll get some breakfast going here in a bit. Somebody's missing a decoy. Found a few things down there. Pretty neat looking bottle. It doesn't look very old, but it's not one I've seen a lot. And a nice piece of driftwood. I might make something out of that. And I found a couple of sea beans. I don't know if these have any symbolic meaning or anything, but when we see them, we grab them. These are called sea hearts. Pretty sure they're just seeds from trees. This is a hamburger bean. This is one of my favorites. They come in a lot of different sizes and shapes and colors. This is probably the most common, but that's actually a pretty big one. Pretty neat. That was just this one side right here. I'm gonna have to come back with more bags and cans. Just so much crap. Got the remnants of a boat. Something. I saw something over here yesterday that looked a little... Yeah, that's what I thought. Oh, hold on. Gotta get low. I saw these yesterday walking in, these little pieces. It's the remnants of what I think is a turtle. They've been gone a long time. Yeah, you can see they stitched together on the shell. Yeah, there's a bunch of different bones here. There's a big piece right there. Oop. Gotta have a sharp eye sometimes. That is another hamburger bean. These are my favorite. We use them as decoration all around the house. They're just cool little things. Time for a little breakfast. A lot of meat that comes off them bodies, or the carcass, whatever you want to call it, the rack. I normally call it the rack. Carcass freaks people out. But even on a small snapper like that, you get a couple bites off it. Scrambled eggs and mangrove snapper. I need my sunglasses. This little guy just came crawling up my leg. What you doing, buddy? Where are you going? So there sits the boat. The sun went away that fast. The tide's starting to creep in a little bit. I would honestly love to stay another night, but I just checked the weather and they're saying it's supposed to pick up to about 25 to 30 this evening, into all day tomorrow, and in the morning Sunday. So I may, once this tide comes in, I may pack up and either relocate or go do something else. I just can't risk running home in 25 to 30 with the little boat completely loaded down with gear. Right now it's probably 18 to 20, and that's about as much as I can handle, even in the backcountry. But I'm gonna wait till the tide comes in and kind of play it by ear. We'll see once we get out there. What a beautiful spot. On a regular tide, it would be a lot higher. We're near the new moon, and in the wintertime, new moons and full moons, you get extremely low tides. Just like in the fall, we get the king tides around the full moons. The tides are much higher than normal. Well, in the winter, it's the opposite. You get extremely super low tides. So I'm gonna head out there and get the boat before the tide comes in too much, because then when I'm out there waiting to get the boat, I will be in probably waist deep mud, and I don't really want to do that. So I'm gonna do it now before it's too deep. I'll just wait till it comes in. It is flying in. Little baby shark. What you doing there, buddy? Trying to find some lunch. Oh. You didn't like me. I do not do good with cold. I'm a warm-blooded creature. Ooh. Just sunk a little bit. Well, she's still floating. That's good. So I still probably need about another hour of tide coming in before I can get the boat in there safely. So I think I'm gonna go throw some lures in the meantime. You never know. Apparently, throwing artificials is not the move today. But it's been about an hour and a half. I think the tide should be in plenty enough to get in there and get my stuff out. So I'm gonna head back over there and get the site cleaned up. See what this weather's gonna do. We may do something else, maybe go pull the traps. I'm not sure yet. Gonna go with the flow. Well, I am done here. I always try to leave it, if I can help it, leave it better than I found it. At the very least, leave it just how I found it. Not a trace. Bye, beach. Canal's frozen solid. Solid sheet of ice. Born ready? So truth be told, I got unloaded, hung out for a little bit, and the weather really, really turned to crap. So we decided to hold out off on the stone crab trap, so we're gonna go do that today. Got some big yellowtail carcasses, some pig's feet in there. Prettiest first mate in all the land.
Oh, this is my, hold on, baby.
Hold on. But yeah, we're gonna go do the stone crab traps today. I don't film this a lot. We pull these every single week. It's kind of just a thing we do. A weekly chore, so to speak. But if you guys like seeing this, I'll film it more. I've only filmed it a couple times, but we do it every single week. And the reason I'm filming it this week is I had several requests. I posted on my Instagram a stone crab cake recipe. So we're gonna pull them and we'll do the stone crab cake recipe later. But Miss Madeleine has a very important phone call. But when she's done, we're gonna head out. We'll get these traps pulled and see how they did. So if you don't know, my wife Madeleine is actually a realtor down here in the Florida Keys. That phone call was actually a work call, and she just
got it under contract.
just put a house under contract downtown Key West. If you need real estate assistance, she is your girl. Always grinding.
Gloves.
I don't know, I forgot your gloves.
Babe.
Are they in there?
Oh,
no.
great.
Forgot the gloves. You're just gonna have to
Oh, man.
tough it out.
Here we go.
So we may, you got the gaff right there.
Oh, yeah. What? It's like
Gaff
my
on the
first
flow.
rodeo.
It's a little windy out here. So we're gonna relocate these. We're gonna keep them all on the boat. We may grab these first three just real quick before we pull the crabs because
Oh, babe.
it's a little rough right here. Do you want to drive and want me to do it?
No, I'm not that big
You don't
of
have to
a
clean
girl.
them. Don't worry about cleaning them.
Right? No, this is bad. We're just gonna have
Don't worry about cleaning them. Oh,
Aw.
I forgot. Just leave them closed. We're gonna pick up three real quick, and then we'll park it and pull them out. They'll be fine in there.
Okay.
Good?
Yeah.
All right, let's get these crabs out of here. See how we did. I
Okay.
don't feel like those were too great. Got one.
Rusty.
We're not in the right spot. Okay, one.
I don't think there's one in there. Oh, a little bit. Oh, two big. Oh,
Baby. That was a keeper.
yeah.
So last week we pulled these. We didn't film it, but Madeleine got pinched for her first time, and she made a sound I've never heard her make before.
It felt like my finger the bone was just being crushed.
There you go.
Wow.
3 to start. Let's get out of here. These waves are breaking.
Yeah.
There's one here, and then there's one up there.
Where?
Up there. So once I get this one up.
Ooh, that one looks
That one
better.
looks a little happier. See some legs. Ooh, I see a lot of legs.
Ooh. Oh, and some coral.
That one seemed a bit happier.
Or no, that's a pig foot coming out.
Woo!
Oh,
Doggy.
Okay. Yeah, baby. Oh, that guy has no arms or no claws.
Well, we won't bother him.
Baby, whoa, whoa, whoa. Watch that guy. He's coming. He's.
Oh, he might be legal. I was gonna toss him out. Here, come here, look at this one. See what we got in this one.
Oh.
Oh, not bad at all.
Okay.
Not wild. Those were pretty much right next to the other three.
100 feet away.
And that much better. You can be poker. I'll be the grabber. Feisty.
Yeah, he is.
That's a big one.
Looks strong.
It's a big one. All right, so 5 trap total. We got 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13. 5 traps. We're halfway.
Are these my traps or your traps?
These were your traps. So we'll do on to the next.
So you put me in the crappy spots, eh?
Yeah, I put you in the the crabby spots.
You know I don't know any better, so
It is a competition.
everything's a competition, baby.
All right, on to the next. Oh. I got legs.
Woo! Oh, baby. Some little guys.
Some small ones. It's a little baby.
Oh, look at the cutie.
He might be, but too close. That guy's legal.
That one, yeah, that one is.
We had 2, 4, 6, 8 in that trap. Some shorts though. Looking good. So I was gonna show them.
Oh my goodness.
You got a regenerated claw right there.
Oh,
So that's your big claw. Crusher. He's regenerating.
maybe we should let him have
The
that.
little pincher. You wanna let it keep the crusher too?
Yeah.
Okay. So that is what it is. You can see the size difference. Like those obviously did not start growing at the same time. That claw has been regenerated.
Wow, I've never seen that. That's cool.
All right, buddy. Your lucky Madeleine's on the boat today. That is a jumbo.
Okay. See, we were rewarded with this.
Oh,
See, that's why I want to hold on, because I need.
just get it in there.
Oh, he is strong.
Measure that bottom one for me.
Get that guy under control, babe.
It is amazing how strong they are. Like, just trying to get that. Oh!
Oh shoot, babe.
Yeah, his cutter got me.
Yep, he legal.
Yeah, now I'm definitely taking your claw. Yeah, that cutter got me. So my finger went in that way. Not finger, my palm. I was very close to cutting a whole strip of skin off. Just gonna be a bruise. So we're keeping them all in the boat today because we're gonna reset. I've been working this area for about 3 weeks now and I don't wanna overdo it. So we're gonna pull all the traps out together and relocate them to a different area, try something new. That is a happy pot. Oh. They may have killed him. He's not happy. That's the first time I've had that happen. Oh yeah.
Oh.
That's unfortunate. Sorry, buddy. Look at the size of that one. Grab him.
No, no. Nope, absolutely not.
Don't be scared.
I will be scared.
Here, hold this. Dude,
Oh.
that is cool. That's like a crusher cutter hybrid.
Yeah. What?
It's huge.
Wow.
Absolutely giant.
Okay.
You got it.
Multitasker.
Jumbo. That's a kind of a hybrid claw because
Yeah.
it has the
cruncher.
cutter closed
Points?
grip and points, but it's big like a crusher. It's weird. Dude.
Holy crap, look at that guy.
4 absolute jumbos and probably 5 average ones.
That guy down there, do you see that claw right
I
there?
think that's our best one.
Look at the just this part, the pointy part.
I'm about to make a necklace out of that one.
Oh my god.
He's so strong.
That could hold up a large duffel bag.
I'm not going, like, I know it's hard to tell at home. I'm not going slow because I'm being careful. I'm going slow because I'm fighting him.
Yeah, they
It's
are
like arm
strong.
wrestling Mark Wahlberg.
Thank you, Mr. Man.
That
Oh
is
my gosh.
was a brute. Oh, but we're not done. Don't worry. There's two more, like
Put that one out.
3 more.
Wow, he's kind of yellowy.
Lemon pepper.
Oh.
They're biggin'. Is that a single? Dude, there's this. That was our best one.
I told you, always
he
good.
got the line. That's gonna be hard to get him off now. Hold on.
Oh, he looks strong.
I'm literally like fighting him. I'm not. I know it looks like I'm being careful going in slow motion, but it's because I'm like fighting him. That was like a good average one. Don't worry, there's still 2 more giants. They're big one. Oh man, we're gonna have crab cakes for days. Another giant.
Wow.
Like that trap was insane. Last one of the day. Look at this. Oh, I don't know. That may have been. That's a 2-gallon bucket. That's our limit is a 2-gallon bucket, completely full.
This is literally like the claw curl too is perfect. Like if you wanted to make, you know how we made the hook?
Yeah, that's just.
It's perfect.
I'm thrilled about that one. How cool.
Jeez.
All right, we are done pulling. We got to do the reset. We're gonna relocate them. Oh, my back hurts.
And in and gone.
All right, let her rip. Big old stingray.
Nice.
Oh, scared him. I was gonna try and show you, but we scared him. Last one. We gone.
Six. Wait, 8? Or 30? 32. 34. 36.
That's our best pull ever.
Holy crab! Holy crab!
That is our best pull ever.
Wow. And then some of the big ones.
Look at that one.
This guy.
I mean, there's just some
Yeah.
roots in there. Good job, baby.
Wow.
Was it 36?
36.
I have to write that one down.
Yeah.
That is a personal best pull. And the first 3 traps only had 1 in each.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, we'll get these cooked up. We're going to have crab cakes.
Tina, say hi!
No! He only knows the word no. All right, so I've shown this a ton, but just in case you're new and you want to know how to cook these, have an ice bath ready, ice water. Bring your water up to a roaring boil and throw them in. I'm going to do it in 2 batches because I have so many crabs. The claws will bring the water temp down. But if you have just a couple, you can get away with 7 or 8 minutes. But if I've got a decent amount of crab, typically I'm going to do 9, 10 minutes, maybe 11 minutes to be safe, just to make sure they're all the way done. When they're done, timer goes off, pull them right out, throw them right into the ice bath, let them sit for 5 minutes so it stops the cooking, doesn't stick to the shell. All right, let's make some crab cakes. So the first part is the absolute worst part and a true test to self-control, and that is picking all the meat out. You got to pick all the meat out of all the claws without eating it. And just a pro tip, I've done this a ton of times, eat a big snack or a small meal or eat something before you do this because you're going to have a tough time picking these without eating them. So I just have to sit here. I crunched them all up already or cracked them. And I'm just going to pick all the meat out, shells in one bucket, the meat in the other. It's a slow, tedious process. You just want to make sure you get all the shells. These shells are so thick. You can see that's not what you want to crank your tooth down on. I won't show you all of this, but this is a part of it. The biggest clump's going to come out of the claw, obviously. Might have underdone that piece just a little bit. Typically it'll peel right off. Yeah, there he goes. And then the knuckles have meat as well, just not as big of a chunk. You actually do want to be careful popping these. If you do them in your hand, you crunch them in your hand, just be careful because a lot of these edges, that shell is so thick, it can actually cut you. I've split myself wide open doing this. The center knuckle sometimes will catch a couple of pieces of, I guess, cartilage. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but that little clear stuff. And there we are. That is one claw. Got 35 to go. When I'm done, I'll check back in. Let's put together some crab cakes. So something I'm doing on the website, I'm working on, hopefully it'll be up in I don't know, hopefully it'll be up soon. I'm going to make an index for all the recipes we've done in the past, so you can go on there, look for grouper sliders, whatever it may be, grouper head soup, garlic Parmesan lobster, and you can go on there, click on it, and it'll take you to the video and the timestamp where the recipe starts. So I'm going to work on being a little better with my ingredients and the recipes, but you have to understand, in my opinion, recipes are guidelines. If I ever come out with a cookbook, it's going to be called that. Recipes are guidelines. You have to cook with emotion, what you feel. I hate when people tell other cooks they're doing something wrong. As long as you enjoy it, the recipe's right. I don't care what you put in it, what you change, if it's not traditional. If you enjoy the final product, the recipe was correct. So, with that in mind, let's start with some crab cakes. 2 things that I do add from time to time that I don't have right now: celery, and sometimes I'll do parsley. And lemons, sometimes I'll add lemons into the crab cake mix, but I found that I like it better squeezed over it after. I don't really taste it when it's mixed in. So we got all our crab meat. This is 2.5 pounds, way more crab than I thought it was gonna be. This is 31 claws. We actually kept a couple of claws whole. That is plenty for what we are gonna be doing. So I've got 2 beaten eggs. I'm gonna mix everything in a bowl separately, and then I'm gonna mix it in there and fold it. So I've got 2 beaten eggs. I've got some white onion, just diced. Mustard, you can use yellow mustard, Dijon mustard. This is stone ground. I think Dijon is the more traditional way. Maybe a tablespoon and a half. Garlic salt. Old Bay, of course. Maybe do a tablespoon and a half. I've got a lot of crab meat here, so gonna have to beef these mixtures up a little bit. Worcestershire, say a tablespoon. Fresh ground pepper, and some mayo. I normally do about 2 tablespoons of mayo. I have a lot of crab here, so I'm gonna do maybe 3 tablespoons of mayo. One of the most devastating things you can do is go to a restaurant, order crab cakes, and it comes out and it's essentially breadcrumb and mayo with a couple of strands of crab. And that offends me. That makes me so upset when that happens. I understand crab's expensive, but if you're gonna make a crab cake, it needs to be crab. I want crab in it. I want the entire thing essentially to be crab. So I try not to mix too much. Panko or breadcrumb. I've got a little bit of panko left, so I'm gonna use it. I'm probably gonna need more than that. And just kind of eyeball it. You can always add less, or you can always add more. You can't add less. So start a little light on mixing this in, because once it's in there, it's in there. I've done this enough that I'm pretty confident with my portions here. So I'm gonna mix all of that in the bowl first. The egg's important, the mayo's important because we need it to bind, and the breadcrumb also. We need this crab meat to bind together. We want this to be a paste. When we mix it in with the crab, we want to be able to make patties that are going to stick together. And again, you can add celery. I do like the celery because of the crunch. The onion will do a little bit of that, and onion's just good in everything. That smells great. I'm going to add a little bit more Old Bay, just because I love Old Bay. And you don't need a ton of salt either, because Old Bay is essentially salt. All right, nice and thick. So I'm gonna mix that in, and I may need to add more of something. We'll see once I mix this in, because I cook with, I guess, guesstimation, just kind of eyeball it. I don't have exact numbers. Sometimes you have to add a little bit. Oh, I'm losing crab over here. So normally when I do this, if I had to guess, I probably have a pound of crab meat, maybe a pound and a half. This is the most I've ever tried to do it with, so. Oh yeah, I'm gonna need more. I'll do a little bit more mayo just because I don't have another egg. And a little bit more breadcrumb. And I'm more so doing my best to fold this. I know I'm mixing it, but I'm trying not to mix it like violently, because you still want those big clumps to stay clumpy. That helps everything stay together. Again, follow your heart. You want to add something different? Add something different. You can see that still essentially is all crab meat. It's coated with a little bit of flavoring and some seasonings and a tiny bit of onion, but for the most part. It's crab. And this is the tricky part, is packing these. Another shell. I'm gonna have to talk to the crab cracker. Shell's all in here. All right, so. Actually, it doesn't feel terrible. So you wanna make, I try to make small hamburger size because you don't want them too big because then they're harder to cook and they tend to fall apart on the skillet. But, oh yeah, that's right. So you just want them to be able to stay together so you can pan sear these and brown the sides and warm them up. That looks pretty great. I'm thrilled with that. Very little mixer or bind. It's just all crab meat. And that's what a crab cake should be. So I'm gonna sit here and make, it's gonna be a lot of crab cakes. I'm curious to see how many crab cake, or how many claws makes one cake. So I put 31 claws in here, and I know there's some are bigger than the others, but I'm curious to see what the average is. It's gonna be at least 8 cakes, probably more than that, actually. I'm gonna be eating crab cakes for the next 3 meals, at least. Not a problem. It's beautiful, just like that. So I'll finish these up, and I'll see you in a bit. Falling apart a little bit. 10 crab cakes. So that's three claws-ish per cake. Not bad. So next step, put these in the fridge. They've got to go in the fridge. They will fall apart in the skillet if they do not. At least 20, 30 minutes. I like to do it an hour if I can help it. I'm not sure what time Madeleine's going to be home, so it may even be longer than that, but if you can do an hour, do an hour. Helps them bind, come together. That way when you put them on the skillet to brown them and heat them up, they normally stay together a little better. Wait till you see this.
That's perfect because my stomach just growled. Oh my god, look how fat they are.
It's like a crab cake train.
Ooh.
Oh, don't touch, don't touch, don't touch. I feel like we just made crab cakes, but it was actually grouper cakes, but this is the official crab cake recipe. So when I make that page on the website for all the recipes, this will be the one that'll be on there. I was gonna do this outside because I just realized this video is kind of all over the place. I started camping and now we're making crab cakes at the house.
Oh, that's what this video is.
Yeah.
From you camping by yourself.
It kind of unfolded differently, but that's okay. Sometimes you gotta go with the flow. But
like our sign says.
Well, there you go. You gotta go with the flow. We got some avocado oil cast iron. Like I said, was gonna do it outside, but it's kind of breezy and we're hungry.
Very.
And when it's windy, it takes longer.
I'm so hungry.
All right, so a medium-ish heat, depending on your stove. You just, so the idea is you want the bottoms to brown, you want them to heat all the way through, but without burning. So whatever that computes to in your stove. You can see they're nice and together now that they sat in the fridge. So just a nice slow simmer. Get that sizzle, but not too hot. I'm on medium right now. And this is a gas stove. So ballpark, I normally do them 5-ish minutes, but it'll fluctuate depending on your stove and your pan. Madeleine's making our sauce we always use. Mayo, mustard, lime.
Oh, she ready. Oh, we burnt.
Burnt? Why do you like torturing me?
It's so easy.
Thanks, baby. Look at that. Brown, crunchy top. Make sure your pan is non-stick, whatever it is you're using. We love our cast irons. There ain't nothing worse than going to flip these and ripping the whole crunchy top off. There you are.
Wow. Dang, baby, you put onions in them.
I did. I didn't have celery. I wanted a little bit of crunch or flavor, but look at all the crab meat.
Wow. Mmm. Little crunch.
They just never get old.
Oh my gosh, look at that. That's just crab meat. That's just like one whole knuckle.
Nugget. I try to keep the chunks big because when you mix it, a lot of it breaks down and gets stringy.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Just a little squeeze of lemon.
Mmm. Yes.
Yep.
This is what I wanted to have for dinner.
We gotta try it.
And you can pretty much do this with any crab meat, right?
Mm-hmm.
You do like the blue crab.
Blue crab, spider crab. You could do like snow or Alaskan.
That'd be one expensive crab.
Technically, yeah. I mean, shoot, these are expensive too.
True.
If you think about it.
Yeah, that's true. Woo, it's cold.
I don't know.
My jacket.
These are so good.
No. I'm letting mine cool off a little more.
Is it hot?
It's a little bit hot.
Oh. Well, I haven't got a shell yet. That's a good sign.
I thought I had one, and then it was actually just a crispy piece of crab.
Extra crunchy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that is all we have for this one. Thanks so much for coming along. Hope you enjoyed it. A little different style episode. It kind of jumped around a bit, but hope you enjoyed it nonetheless. Any questions, leave them in the comments. First hours of the videos I get on there and answer all the comments. We're going to keep on keeping on. I will see you on the next one. Later.